Okay, thank you guys. So let's discuss a little bit about what is virtual production. And I will show you a video, and meanwhile, I will talk over the video a little bit to explain to you exactly what's virtual production. So as you know, the traditional VFX uses green screen as a very important tool, to change the backgrounds. But with the new Mandalorian show, of course, that the green screen basically was replaced by LED walls, and this technique named virtual production. As you can see here, it's amazing. It's amazing the results you can achieve with virtual production and the realism you can achieve with virtual production. So, the background of virtual production is precisely the experiments with both Lion King and Jungle Book. And then they implemented this tracking technique so they can track the camera. Also, a little bit of the background of virtual production is what we call rear projection. And that's a pretty old, technique, as you can see here. And it's based on a projector and, and the rear projection of the background. The problem with that is that, the perspective was not precise enough, and the quality of the background light was not good. So now with virtual production and the volume, we call the area the volume, and the tracking system, as you can see here, you can track the perspective pretty precisely with a lot of accuracy. So you can see here the effect that we call parallax effect. When you move the camera, the background moves and change the perspective in sync with the movement of the camera. The other advantage you have is that the background becomes actually a light source, a very high quality light source. We can check out this interview here, and he will explain
Richard
a little
Bluff,
bit about it.
Industrial Light and Magic's
The day didn't necessarily match the
biggest one, probably being lighting.
We've all seen movies, TV shows where the lighting on the day didn't necessarily match the post-production work that was added many, many months later.
That's Richard Bluff, Industrial Light and Magic's VFX supervisor for The Mandalorian.
So as you can see here, you get all the reflections, all the benefits of the environment in reflections and the quality of light, because of course, LED walls are a huge screen with very, very, high quality, high color quality, lighting as a light source. So it's very important to notice that instead of having the problems of green screen associated with green screen, such as spill and lighting problems, because as you know, green is awful. You can see here the spill of the green, and it's usually awful, and it contaminates, it spills all around in a very awful way. So it takes a lot of post-production time to correct that. And with virtual production is the other way around. The light you get from your surroundings for your environment is amazing. It's beautiful, as you can see here. It's pretty natural. It matches a natural location, and you have, of course, full control of any aspect of your lighting and of your elements in that. Another advantage is that you can handle very complex scenes such as this with very few, practical elements. As you can see here, you only have the desk and a couple of props. So you can optimize a lot of space, and you can optimize a lot of resources using, this technique. Fortunately now, usually, back in the day, LED walls were pretty expensive, but and the volumes, the complete system was pretty expensive. But this year, it's much more affordable. We are in partnership with a company named Holodeck that makes pretty high quality and affordable volumes. So that's part of what we want to teach, that nowadays, virtual production can become a tool for everyone, and virtual production is associated usually with high-end productions such as Disney films or Disney series. But as I said, it's totally and absolutely, it's absolutely possible to do an indie movie right now with a virtual production tools. And that's precisely what we aim to share with you and for you to learn exactly how to do that. We call this the volume, of course. It's the space, it's a space exactly where everything happens. And that's why our academy is Academy of Volumetric Production. So you use, amazing software such as Unreal to create these environments, to create these new worlds. And we will talk in this webinar about the process of how the backgrounds, and how the environments are designed. And of course, another advantage with virtual production is that if for any reason you need also green screen applications, if you want to have a backup, backup footage, so you can, change your mind in post-production, then you can go with green screen also. It's pretty easy, as you saw there, to go with green screen also at the same time. So the introduction, and we will of course discuss the benefits and recap the benefits of this kind of technique. You can, of course, as you can see here, you can match part of this is very impressive. You can match part of the real, set dressing or set design. Here you have the front of the spaceship, it's practical, it's real, and the back of the same spaceship is virtual production. And you can match exactly the perspective of it. So it can blend together and do amazing effects. So you can save a lot of money with great photorealistic results. So it's pretty awesome. So let's recap why virtual production is relevant. Of course, you have a lot of cost efficiency, and as I said, now is much more affordable than 2 years ago. So we are able to produce independent films in virtual production. Actually, we just did a vertical, production for mini, the short form content for a Chinese company with virtual production. You have, of course, real-time visualization, and that's another advantage that actors love. Usually, with VFX, actors react to green screen and, funny people, dress on green with tennis balls all around, and that's not inspiring at all for them. And actually, we have a testimonial from Felicity Jones talking about the advantage of being in our, train room set with the forest fire on it. And I will discuss that, and I will show you that testimonial just in a couple of minutes. So the real-time visualization for both, the director of photography, and for the actors especially, is pretty awesome. We also, for instance, we even use sound, even when the sound will be not included actually as a direct sound recording. We use sound to make the actors react. If we have a real-time explosion with the LED wall, we put, the sound, so it helps the actors feel that they are, inside this environment. So another thing is flexibility. Now the systems are portable. 1 year ago it was very difficult. It was kind of difficult, not very difficult, but it was a little bit difficult to move around a complete volume. These days we can set up a volume for an indie movie in a couple of hours, with a pickup truck and two guys. It's very similar as installing light fixtures. It's pretty fast and straightforward. So you have a lot of flexibility with that. And of course, you have a lot of flexibility in the design of the background, Because if you do an actual physical set, for instance, changing the color of that set implies that you will need to paint it, or moving around elements of the set. It's very difficult because, of course, the set is already built. But with virtual production, of course, you can repaint instantly, or you can move around any element, even complete buildings in your background. So that gives you a full creative control, even on set in real time. So that's so impressive for directors and for filmmakers. Of course, you have greater security and control. Imagine in the case of Miranda. Imagine in the case of Train Dreams. The director had the option of doing in green screen, but both the director and the director of photography, you hated green screens. And the other way to do it is practical, using like gas and pyros and all these kind of special effects, practical special effects. But it was very expensive. It was unsafe. It was, it needed a lot of, insurance and liabilities, and of course firefighters and permits from everywhere. So they hire us at first to do proof of concepts. So they can decide if they can do it with virtual production. And fortunately, they love the results. And we will check out some of the testimonials. And of course, another huge advantage is that we will have a lot of speed, and we will see why in a moment. You will have speeds, fivefold speed, and I will explain exactly what happened with Train Dreams. Train Dreams effects were done in one day. Imagine that. One day, and we were out at 6 p.m. Imagine that. So it's pretty fast. So let's discuss. If you have any question at any time, please let me know. I'm checking the chat, right now. And if you have any question, you can interrupt me, please, and let me know. So let's explain the elements of the virtual production volume. And the main one, of course, and usually the more expensive one, is the LED background. And this is the main element because, of course, is the lighting source, is the background source. So this is the key. The quality of this is the key of a good production. And also we have, with the same weight, of importance, I think, the media server. The media server might be also kind of on the expensive side because you need a very powerful computer to display in real time, your environments. And why is this? Because of course, the computer need to process the camera movement. The camera will move around, and we have the tracking system that precisely feeds all the positional data to the media server. So the computer can know exactly where the camera is, as you saw in the video. And when the camera moves, also the perspective, and the angle and perspective of the background will match the movement of the camera. So that computing power should be very high, so you can handle that. You have the real objects, and we will discuss a lot about that. The practical set dressing, the practical set design, the art department. The practical art department is very important, and we will discuss why this is very important. We have also the LED processor. The LED processor is another computer that handles all the technical specs of the display itself, of the LED, points itself, like the calibration of the color, for instance, or the distribution of the image. So this is the one that processes that, and you should calibrate with the LED processor. You should calibrate all the technical optical specs of your LED background to make it match with your camera sensor. Another element, of course, is the practical lighting that you will have there, and the practical atmosphere and special effects. And I mean like fog, haze, rain, maybe practical fire in the foreground, or snow, etc., etc. And we will discuss why we should be able to match, of course, the practical atmosphere effects with the virtual atmosphere effects. And we have also an element named DMX controller that matches, that helps to match and make everything automatic between the physical practical lights and the virtual lights, you know. So this is very interesting also. And of course, we have the VP operator in what, you know, Disney calls the brain bar, the control bar, the operating station, or, you know, you can have many names for this space, but this is basically where the operator, you know, it's basically controlling all the system and mainly controlling the background. So he can do any kind of you know, changes to the things that are displayed in the background, and also changes to the controls of the physical lighting. Any questions? We're good? Okay. So I will explain a little bit about the workflow. And we will first explain why previs is very important. And in virtual production, we say we will fix it in pre-production because it's very, very important to understand that everything, all the three main elements of filmmaking, pre-production, production, and post-production, will merge in this stage. Why? Because, of course, usually when you did the CGI, the computer graphics, and the backgrounds with green screen, that was part of post-production. But now, because it's real time, because it will happen exactly in the moment you're shooting, it becomes part of production. And because you should plan ahead very, you know, with a lot of precision, also the design of your environment, it's part of the pre-production process. So the three stages merges into one, and that's very important to understand. And that's why, you know, the pre-production part of the virtual production is very, very, very important. We call this usually previs and techvis because we are able with Unreal to make the pre-visualization very straightforward. And of course, the techvis also. The difference between previs and techvis is previs is the visual part of it, and the techvis is the decision of the technical elements you will use on your production. And of course, now, fortunately, you can merge both on Unreal, in using Unreal. So Unreal is the software that's the main engine, it's the heart of your system usually. So as you can see here, it's pretty fun to do pre-bis and pre-production because it's a little bit like, you know, designing a video game and playing around with your video game. But instead of a video game, you will have your sequence designed, you have your frames designed, so you can match exactly the vision of your director and the vision of your director of photography to your actual scenes and your actual environments designed with, of course, Unreal. And also you can even, you know, play with characters, you know, real-time characters, as you can see here, like creatures and monsters, etc., etc. You can look, you can see different techniques to previs that on this video. So it's pretty cool. It's pretty fun to, you know, do that. And of course, another advantage is that you can, of course, simulate card processing. And in our workshop that we will have, you know, a hands-on workshop in Santa Monica, and we will talk a little bit about that. We will actually have very cool cars like a Ferrari, an actual Ferrari, and a Corvette to play with, so we can, you know, do card processing. And you can simulate your card processing also with Unreal. So that's pretty cool, as you can see there. So you use like video games elements, controls, so you can, of course, plan ahead all your shots. Okay. So here we have a couple of actual examples we work with in an amazing studio in Dallas named Trilogy Studios that's powered by Opticate. And this was the vision of the director. And then we, of course, designed the 3D environment. So we can, this is a mannequin that, simulates the position of the actor. So the director and the director of photography were able to play in a full 3D environment, so they can confirm and decide exactly how to move the camera, design the camera moves, and also decide the main frames of their shoots. So here also we have a couple of pictures of the actual LED wall. It's a huge LED wall in Dallas, Texas, and the actual production happening based on our uh, pre-production. For pre-production also, we have a couple of tools, the traditional tools like ChatGPT and Gemini, so it can help you write, it can help you with brainstorming, story ideas, writing drafts, of course, real-time creative feedback, what do you think about this? Compare this with that. So it's a very, very cool, and controversial tool now for creators, of course. Another amazing tool is LTX Studio and Filmica. I love Filmica because it helps you with a cumbersome process, and I mean the creation of the breakdown of a script and the catalog and even the budget of a script. So you will have a script, and Filmica AI will analyze the script, and then it will propose very precisely how to you should handle your catalog. It will output, it will create an actual breakdown and a catalog that you can export to Excel or to any other tool, and of course even a budget. So it's pretty impressive. And LTX Studio is very good to generate visual concepts, characters in minutes, build digital storyboards. And of course, it has tools to improve communication between creative and technical teams. So it's pretty cool also. We love LTX Studio also. So that's part of the tech piece. Now we will go into the practical art department and the virtual art department, and I will explain you a little bit. The traditional way to do the environments, to design the environments, is to hire, a 3D designer, a CGI artist. So he will, for instance, this set here, a visual artist and a 3D artist can, model that, texture that, and, of course, design the lighting and the atmosphere, the virtual lighting and the atmosphere on this scene, for instance. And this is a traditional way to go. Maybe you are familiar with this process. If you're familiar with tools such as Maya or Blender, this is usually the way to go. And as you can see here, it's very interesting the way this artist is creating this beautiful space station. So of course he prepares the assets, and he prepares the materials, the texturing of the set, and look at that. It's a beautiful work. And also, of course, he also applies the atmospherics, the lighting, the lights, and the atmospherics of it, like a little bit of haze and fog and this and that. This is a traditional way to go, and it's very valid. And it's a very interesting, and very productive way to design your backgrounds. But we have a little secret sauce that we will talk a little bit about in our workflow. And this is because we are fortunate enough to have as an advisor Scott Ross. He was for 9 years he was the vice president of Lucasfilms. He was for 8 years he was the manager of Industrial Light and Magic, and he's also a virtual production expert. He co-founded Digital Domain, and he is still a partner of James Cameron. And he told us a little secret sauce from Disney, especially from the ILM studios. And he's doing the other way around. Instead of beginning with the CGI, and after designing our CGI, you know, including the team, the art department, and saying the art department, use the CGI to design the practical part of it. The actual practical set of it, and you do all the set dressing with based on that CGI. Uh, Many times, Disney and ILM specifically does it the other way around. They begin with the practical design, even with models, with scale models, and they scan those, and then they put, they after the scanning, they put these elements on the 3D, in the 3D world, in the 3D background. Why is that? Because this way you get much more realism. When you scan, and you will see some examples, you will get much more realism. Because as you can see in this example, it's pretty cool, but it looks a little bit gamish. And that's part of the usually the critique we have with virtual production. It looks gamish. So how did Mandalorian, design the sets so they look so real? And that's the way to do it, to actually scan the practical and the models and all the physical elements, so it can, you can handle it, and it can be very, very realistic. That's why for us it's very important to have a scanning department. So Sebastian, that's a teacher with us, will explain you a little bit of the techniques to scan precisely, or even use AI to make and also virtual backgrounds. Okay. So I think Sebastian,
Guys.
are you over there?
Hi guys, can you hear me?
Yes.
Ah, perfect. Okay, so we got a lot of different techniques. Yeah, the more traditional techniques is obviously just making it in 3D, 3D modeling, texturing, and all of that manually. So um, the next, let's go first with the more basic step. It's the next slide.
Yes. There.
So yeah, the most basic background you're gonna ever had, and we use it actually quite a lot, is to have a 2D plate, right? That means we can put on any photography from any place. You go to the street, you just take a photo and put it on the LED wall. You can also use high quality stock images, or any just 2D image, right? You can also create now these plates, these 2D plates, completely from scratch with artificial intelligence, right? That's the new way to do it. We use that method with AI in the last Paramount production we had, and it was quite successful. That's the example right there. You guys can see there was a commercial for Paramount for Dora the Explorer, and well, it looks great. It works. It was for a quick shot, right? In just like 3 5 second shot. So you didn't really need like the background to be moving around, or it was a static, basic shot. So 2D plates are also perfect and can look pretty realistic, and mostly because they are just based off a real actual place, right? So now we can go to the next slide. And
Yes.
the next step after this, the most basic one is, a still 2D image, right? The next step is having a 3D background. I mean, a 2D video, right? So you can go somewhere, you can record, I don't know, the street, and you can have that 2D video plate in your LED wall, and that can be your background. That was the usual workflow for rear projection and stuff like that. And that way you could have like really good running shots. And now we can even do this, but take it to the next level and add AI for this. And now you got basically any 2D background um, with these AI tools, and you can put it on the LED wall, or you can even just don't use the LED wall, right, with the new AI workflows, and just use complete AI generation tools. But that's another topic we're going to talk on the workshop. We are going to see the advantages and disadvantages you're going to have with complete AI workflows, because it's not perfect. There's a reason it's not implemented on every single workflow right now. But yeah, we're gonna talk about the advantages and disadvantages of that in our intensive workshop. So yeah, let's go to the next slide.
Sorry, here it is.
So yeah, now you guys saw we saw 2D plates, right? Still 2D plates, images, and moving to the plates. And now let's go to scanning, right? Um, Scanning is basically like, in terms, it's pretty simple. You go to anywhere, you take a lot of photos from the place, from whatever you want to make a digital twin of. In this case, this guy is taking photos of his own house, and from that photos you process them with a specialized software like reality capture. Well, it's now called reality scan, sorry, and metashape and 3D Zephyr or Polycam or any photogrammetry software, and you can actually convert these images into full 3D models. There's like two ways for this. One way is to use the classic photogrammetry mesh scan. The other way is to use the new, more on the edge technology, Gaussian splatting, that it's becoming a even like a big replacement for photogrammetry in some way. So yeah, there's a ton of ways you can take pictures or scan anything with your phone, with a DJI drone, with a DSLR camera, mirrorless camera, with anything that takes photos. It's gonna help you make any 3D model of anything. I don't know if we can go to the next slide, please. Thank you. So this good example we have. This was like 2 years ago already, or something like that. We had we made a quick test with Gaussian splatting. We went to this place in downtown Tijuana, and we pretty much captured the space. It's a small, like, I don't know if to call it, like, yeah, it's like a small mall down there in Tijuana. Is like just some shopping mall. And as you guys can see, we captured that place. We process it with Gaussian splatting, and we throw it in the wall. And what you are guys seeing here is we are on the studio, on our studio, that it's like miles away from the actual place, but we are recording right there. And if you guys can see, the background is actually reacting to the movement. It's not as still to the image. It's a slight difference, but you guys can see some parallax on the background. You guys can see like the actual columns are moving as we are moving. That means, well, it's actually 3D, a 3D background, right? And as you guys can see, we can actually have full light control over the space, over the environment, right? And that's amazing. That means we can go to a place, we can go to a pretty crowded space on the morning, right? We can go pretty early in the morning. We can scan it. We can make a digital twin, like here, of the place, and we can go pretty early in the morning. We can scan it. We can make a digital twin, like here, of the place, put it on our wall, and have, like, I don't know, golden hour 24/7. We can put it at night 24/7. We can set it on the morning light. We can change the lighting as we wish, as we please. And well, we are gonna end up with a background with full control, um 24/7 ready on the studio. And if the place is crowded at 10 p.m. and at 7 p.m. for some reason, because people are shopping in the mall, it doesn't matter. We have the full on digital twin replica on our hands in the studio for it to use all day if you want. And that's a big advantage. You get like photorealistic results pretty quickly. We take like like 15 minutes scanning a place, or 20, even, like it can be even 10 minutes depending on the place. It takes less than an hour to scan a place, but you can use it for the rest of your life 24/7 in our studio. As you guys can see, we even put some things in the background. We completely change the lighting. The background reacts to this. um, this is just a quick sample. In a moment you're gonna see, yeah, we have like different light conditions, as you can see. And yeah, we can just change it as we please it. And in later on you're gonna see the example with train dreams. We also use photogrammetry for that. And that example is more high end. This example, it was just, the concept we did. It was a quick concept we did when Gaussian splatting just came out like 2 years ago or something like that. We got better examples now. We can go to the next one. Yeah, this is a more well-ledged example we have. Um, this is a coffee shop. As you can see, we can just come in. This took like, I don't know, like um 15 minutes, yeah, like to capture. And now we have a full 3D scan of the place again. And well, yeah, we can do this with pretty much every single place we want. Doesn't matter the place, doesn't matter if it's here in China or whatever. You can just come in, scan the place, and that's all, right? That's perfect. We can even put on humans in the background, and any kind of detail. Or we can even put like fire on the place, or like any special VFX or explosion. We can even do that now. So yeah, it's pretty amazing tool. And well, you get photorealistic results quickly without having to deal with a 3D modeling production, right? This takes like one day to get it going, and that's amazing for this level of quality.
Thank you. Thank you very much, Sebastian. Great presentation. Thank you. So as you can see, it's amazing the capabilities of and the potential of scanning out places, and that's a pretty amazing technique. So we have also another amazing technique named DMX control of lighting, and we will see an example here, pretty straightforward. But the main thing is that you can make every control on your set automatic. That's why we call it the volume, because we usually design and put out fixtures, pretty flexible fixtures for any kind of lighting situation, as you can see here. This is a pretty small, place. But actually, of course, you can make virtually any kind of lighting situation and configuration, and pre-program it the way that automatically on the Unreal platform, when it changes the background, it will change also the lights. So that's huge. Imagine that in the middle of a production. Usually to reset and redesign the light for a change, of scene or whatever, it takes like 3 hours, 4 hours. And this, it will take, it will take nothing, like a second. With the push of the button, you will change both the background and you will change also the lighting configuration of your scene. And this is pretty game changing, as you can see. The name of this protocol is named DMX. And with DMX, you sync exactly what's happening in your background with the behavior and the characteristics of your light fixtures. You can use it manually with a console like this, or you can program it to make it automatic with Unreal software. So, or both ways at the same time without any problems. Or you can even control that with your iPad also, no problem. So it's mind blowing. Yeah, Miranda, it's very interesting. uh, yeah, you Gaussians, yeah. Now, thank you for the questions. Thank you, Miranda, for the questions. So, same thing happens exactly with practical special effects. We usually also scan or photograph. We have several techniques to scan or photograph special effects, especially fire. And that's exactly the example we'll have with train dreams. So it's very important to make the foreground and the background, atmospherics and special effects match. Of course, if you have explosion in the background, you should have also physical elements that helps you blend the image, the actual camera image, the actual, your actors, and your foreground, of course, set with your background set. If you have fog, if you have snow, it should match. And one of the ways to make it match is precisely also scanning the atmospherics. So, and finally, we have the post-production part of it. And I will like Sebastian to also explain that, because he's just in the research of this. And of course, after you have your scene, usually you want to also, maybe do a little bit of tricks in post-production. And nowadays, these days, AI is amazing for doing, AI VFX. That's very interesting. Go ahead, Sebastian.
Yeah. So the most use case we have right now for AI right now, it's to do subtle changes in post production, like relight, or add me a fire on the background, or change me this, or do me another shot of the same place, another angle, right? uh Convert it to ice, change the weather, change the mood, add some people in the background, all stuff like that. Right now, AI, it's what's best for. It's pretty much the same workflow you're gonna have with any kind of filmmaking production, but at the end you can save a lot of money. uh Instead of doing the masking and doing compo rotoscoping and adding fire to your background, you're gonna just type a prompt and it's going to do all those changes for you. So that's a pretty good use we have for AI right now. We have some um some examples of that already in productions in the last year or so. So there's a lot of tools right now, but all you gotta know right now is that, well, it's already good for that. It's already in use for the last 1 or 2 years. We have been using it in small to medium and high end productions, in music videos, commercials, and some other productions. So yeah, it's already production level. It has its 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 disadvantages. It does have problems still as of today. You're gonna have problems, like if you guys want to do this um AI effects for Netflix, you're gonna have problems because you know you need to have the footage in like actual 4K resolution and stuff like that. And right now it's pretty limited to like 180p and like upscale 4K, and those kind of stuff Netflix is not going to really, you know, accept those kind of conditions. But for the rest of the stuff, when it comes like this Drake Bell music video we did, and you know some Paramount commercial, and even for the Amazon AWS servers commercial we did, there was some AI being used for the video, and it's fine because it's mainly for, you know, for YouTube, for social media platforms. So yeah, I mean, most of the stuff today just goes to social media platforms. So yeah, it's a lot of views you can use already. So in this video, we added rain, we added fire to the video, to some shots, and yeah, it worked perfectly. It's a subtle change, and it's one of the best ways you guys use AI right now for your low to mid to high end productions. It gives good enough results already for this, and it's just going it's going to keep getting better.
Yeah. Yunus asked, do you need to capture in HDR? No, actually, it's pretty flexible. It's pretty straightforward. So, of course, it depends on your approach. Maybe it's yeah, depending of the characteristics. If you have a lot of highlights and shadows in your object, you might be it might be wise to shoot on log or raw, so you can handle the pictures after, or you can do multi-bracketing with it. There's a lot of techniques. Multi-bracketing means that you need like HDR a little bit to have highlights and have, you know, shadows. It depends on your situation, but usually, fortunately, you don't need that. It depends also on the detail that you will need of your scene. If your scene is very in the background, you shouldn't have any problem. But if you have a lot of time of camera with your background, you should be more careful exactly with the details and the, you know, of course, the dynamic range, the dynamic color and dynamic luma range of your scene, of course. So it depends, Yunus, but usually, fortunately, you don't need HDR for that. Okay. So let's discuss, you know, a couple of case studies. This is, of course, our favorite. We're pretty, you know, proud of it. So let's check out the trailer.
Beautiful, ain't it? What is?
I didn't think you'd be home this soon.
Well, I just couldn't stop walking until I got here.
What are you thinking about?
I was thinking that we ought to get married. This is rough work, gentlemen. Not just on the body. We just cut down trees that have been here for 500 years. Upsets a man's soul whether you recognize it or not. You think that she knows that I'm her daddy?
Deep down, she knows it. Even if she doesn't know she knows it yet.
In the forest, every least thing's important. It's all threaded together. So you can't tell where one thing ends and another begins.
Do you think bad things that we do follow us through life? I don't know. I've seen bad men raised up and good men brought to the knees.
It's all going by so fast.
Beautiful, ain't it?
What is?
All of it. Every bit of it.
Now let's check out the making of the behind the scenes of the virtual production part.
Stars Joel Edgerton and Felicity Jones in a story about... I'm Clint Bentley, and I'm the director of Train Dreams.
Talk to us a little bit about the movie.
Train Dreams is a movie based on the novella by Dennis Johnson, and it stars Joel Edgerton and Felicity Jones in a story about... it really tells the story of this one man's life, Robert Grenier, who's a logger and an itinerant laborer who lives from, the early 1900s until the 1960s, and sees the world just completely change around him as his whole industry of logging and kind of expanding westward, as all of that becomes mechanized and industrialized, and he kind of feels life pass on beyond.
Okay, well, I want to talk a little bit about the story of Train Dreams project. It was an amazing project. And I received this call from Bosler Studios. And after this call, they say they had this very interesting project regarding forest fire. So they asked us if we could do virtual set assets and in-camera VFX about this huge forest fire. We flew to the actual studio to work directly with their rendering nodes and media servers.
Every project has some unique issues. In this particular case, this recent project, we had some shooting at some special frame rates, which are really interesting. And so, we're rapidly adjusting. So it might be an Unreal Engine, it might be exporting very 12K plates, but being able to do that rapidly on the spot. So having their team critical part of the process with integrated here at every stage is vital. So it's the previs, it's the creating the worlds, it's the going back and forth to iteration, and then being on set, running the wall and the volume, and having the artist here that can demand to whatever the director needs.
Parte de mi trabajo como técnico es solucionar esos problemas y hacerlo de la manera más eficiente posible todo aquí, de cómo generar estos escenarios fotorrealistas lo mejor posible, pero que también lo aguante la computadora y que todo esté corriendo en tiempo real, ¿no?
Job. I mean, it's, provided the CG environment in Unreal, CG renders that you're able to throw up there. This was the right decision to go this route for this project.
It's just been a great experience working with iDigital, and they're great collaborators, and every step of the way they were able to take direction and really hone in specifically on what our director's vision. It's been great. Everybody,
who's been helping us from both companies has been so wonderful and so collaborative and helpful to the process. It's just been incredibly easy and a wonderful experience.
Hi, it has been such an extraordinary experience working with Beat Screen. It makes our job so much easier. So much of our imagination is done for us, because it just is, you're not acting for nothing. So it's been such a tremendous experience, and I think the effect is going to look fantastic with the finished film for Train Dreams.
It was a total and absolutely success.
We were talking to a few different partners or potential partners to see who could create that content for us. And as soon as we got the first tests, even the very rough tests from iDigital, those tests were just head and shoulders above anything else that anybody had sent through. And it was just very clear immediately that these were the people to work with.
Okay, so as you can see, it was pretty cool. And we are
This is your
super
brain
proud
when
of
you're
it. I'm
struggling
sorry,
to
I don't know
focus.
why it went out, but here we go again. Oh, a little glitch. Let me use my keyboard instead to change the slides. So yeah, of course, actually it's very interesting because in our next workshop in Santa Monica, that will happen from the 23rd to the, I think, 28th of February, we will use the actual LED, we will use the actual, I mean, the actual train dream scene. Yeah, you will see here the actual, all the, I don't know what's happening with, sorry. It's glitchy. What the hell is happening? There we go. Sorry. And what I mean is that this is the actual 3D set. It's huge. It's an amazing, 3D scene that our Sebastian here and Sergio designed. And we will use it, for practices in our workshop that will happen in Santa Monica. It will be pretty cool. Here is some of the actual, behind the scenes shots. So finally, in industries that benefit from AI and virtual production, of course, the natural one is film and TV, but also marketing and corporate are really important. Of course, advertising, gaming. Here we have an example of a corporate video we did for Amazon Studios. And it was precisely about the new technology that they will use for data centers. And as you know, data centers are so important now for AI. So we did this virtual production video, and we did, several 3D elements for this corporate video. It was pretty cool, actually. All of this was done also in Vosler Studios in Seattle, where we shot Train Dreams. So, of course, the same technology applies to live events and interactive, experiences. You can use it for architecture and real estate and actual live corporate events also. So if you learn the basics of virtual production, you will also have a lot of tools, to be pretty competitive in several areas, not only in film and television. That's why I think it's very important to to train ourselves in these new technologies. It's fascinating, of course. It's super cool and super fun to learn these new technologies. We have studio alliances around the world, mainly with Opticade International in Dallas, Texas, with Bosler Studios in Seattle, nowadays with Holodeck, with Visual AI, with Creative Space in Santa Monica. That's our new partner. We should put it in there. Creative Space in Santa Monica, California. And we will have our next workshop there in Creative Space in Santa Monica, and 1111 Studios in Mexico City. So I don't know if you have any questions. Meanwhile, allow me to, announce that we will have this virtual production and AI VFX workshop. As I said, it will happen in Santa Monica from February 23rd to 28th. And we will have 4 online sessions followed by 2 intensive hands-on days in studio. Also, we have the full online, package for it. If you cannot attend physically to Santa Monica, you can, do all the workshop online, and we will stream all the practices, and we'll explain through the streaming what's happening in the hands-on practices. We will practice with the actual Train Dreams, set. We will practice all the special effects and practical effects that we use with Train Dreams, and we will also have car processing with cool cars like an actual Ferrari, an actual, Corvette, and also we aim to finish a complete music video with the team, because we love to have a final, usable product. So usually our students, one of our students maybe is a musician or a singer, or they have a friend or relative that is a singer, and we try to make the session useful. So we practice doing an actual music video as a final practice. So we have an exclusive discount code for you guys, webinar BP 2026. You can learn more, writing us to both helloacademybp@gmail.com or helloacademyofvolumetric.com. Check out our website also and follow us in our social media. So if you have any questions, final questions, guys?
Yeah, Eunice asked something on the chat.
Oh, I'm sorry. I lost. Oh, here it is. All clear. Junus, I heard you can just use any screens. They have to be really bright to make the effect. Well, not bright. Actually, it's the other way around. Usually with our screens, we dim it down to 10% of the brightness. So it's not the brightness, it's the quality, it's the precise quality of the LED, components itself. So yeah, you need specialized, calibrated design for virtual production, walls. We work nowadays specifically with holodeck. Holodeck's an amazing and pretty affordable, solution for virtual production. We also use Absen and Aoto in our productions before. Those three brands are amazing. Also, Glowshine is pretty amazing. We use that also in Anaheim, California. But yes, you need specific characteristics. You need to be careful about that. We can explain that, in detail if you want. ¿Qué tipo de track? What time? Yeah, actually, the fog is not a problem with the tracking systems usually, because they have several, ways to, the sensors, fortunately, are not affected by fog. That's our experience. So yeah, we use HTC is one of the best and more affordable ways to make good tracking. The problem with HTC is that it's for smaller places. But yeah, we use Cinecraft. That it's amazing from car size. There's another beautiful, super affordable solution for indie filmmakers named JetSet. Actually, also in our workshop, we will work with JetSet because it's pretty revolutionary. Because you can use your actual iPhone, and it's very precise. So yeah, you have several. Fortunately, you have several options for tracking, from pretty affordable, such as JetSet, because JetSet is a software solution, and you use your own iPhone as a tracker, to more expensive ones such as Bicon, Stipe, etc. What are still some of the hurdles for virtual production? Great question, Yunus. Yeah, well, actually, the calibration of of the LED wall itself, it's a hurdle. We still have, a lot of challenges regarding, making everything work great. And one of the main hurdles is the fast movement of the camera, right, Sebastian? Like whiplash or pretty fast pans or pretty fast movements of the camera. Yeah, the system still struggles with that because it needs to process a lot of information. So you have, a pretty small lag that is not noticeable. It doesn't, as you saw in the example that we did with the Dali coffee shop, we used like on purpose, we did like a handheld, very, shaky camera. So we can test that we don't have a lag. But if we go a little bit more faster with that, with the camera, we will struggle.
Yeah.
So yeah, mainly that. I don't know if you have anything on mind, Sebastian, about the hurdles and problems with
Yeah, I think the content side for the wall is pretty much solved already. There's a ton of different ways to make contents. So yeah, I think the physical, the most prominent, limitation, it's just that the camera can't move at some point too fast, right? Because a lot of times when the DP comes in or the director, they just depending on what they're recording, right? If they're recording like an, I don't know, like an action fight scene or something, they just grab the camera and they just want to pan around pretty quickly or dolly around pretty quickly, like make really high-faced movements, and they can't. And that's a limit from virtual production, because uh, in reality, there's no system that can process at that much information from the tracking, from the 3D environment so fast, right? We are
but
limited.
let me interrupt you. But we have a trick that we use with train rims, pre-render. Because of the camera moves pretty fast, you don't notice the precision of the perspective. So the trick is that instead of real-time capture of the tracking, you pre-render the background, you make it a 2D plate. And when you make it a 2D plate, you can move the camera as fast as you want. So we did that with train dreams, exactly. Because the director of photography, I want to move faster and very shaky in some scenes, as you will see in the movie if you saw it. And they say, we have a solution for that. Let's pre-render that movement of the camera, and because it's very shaky and it's very fast, precisely, your eye don't notice that the perspective is not really precise. He was really happy. It looks so good. Yeah, that's a very, very smart way to go. So yeah, there's a solution even for fast camera movements. You
Yeah.
can solve that in
Yeah,
action fights and everything. Also, you just transform your 3D to a 2D plate, and that's it. And of course, the advantage is when you have very fast movements, usually also you have very fast cuts, because if not, you don't have that fast cuts, the audience, gets tired of that, chaotic movement. So you have the technique on your side. You can do a lot of tricks with that, of course. That's the fortunate thing.
The only other way to do it, which is a technical challenge and it's way more expensive, it's to have a bolt arm or some robotic arm. If you guys have a robotic arm, for every movement you make with a robot, you need to pre-record the movement. The movements are so fast, you need to pre-record them. So as long as you know when or where the camera is going to be in the next frame, you can actually just throw in the next frame, and well, basically you're gonna catch up to the speed. And that's the only other technique I've seen for those kind of solutions, because these limits, it's not about the tracking. It's not about the wall. It's about the whole system working in together. You have a lot of delay just from the fact that you're sending a signal back and forward from the tracking, from the processor, and from everything. Just the fact that you can just turn on any TV or any monitor, even gaming monitors, and you press a button on your controller, and you're gonna see some delay between the press of your button and between the screen when it reacts. So we're dealing with that physical limitation of delay, which is pretty much apart from doing all these kind of tricks to solve them we have good results, right? Apart from that, there's just no way to really circumvent that in a physical way.
Any other questions, guys? If you're interested on our workshop, let us know. And please, if you can share your emails, we will appreciate it in the chat. Of course, we will really appreciate that. Any other questions? Okay, Jonas. Well, we will have an online option for that if you're interested. But yeah, thank you very much. So you are in, where exactly do you live, Jonas, in Europe? Amsterdam, Barcelona. Oh, I have very good friends in Barcelona that works with virtual production over there. Lovely place. Barcelona is amazing. Oh, Miranda, you're in Barcelona. Love Barcelona. Yeah. Actually, my daughter will move to Madrid, in 15 days from now. So we will be there soon. So if you're maybe interested in also in our online solutions or online seminars, we will let you know, and maybe we can have some options for that. Okay, guys. So thank you for your email, Miranda. Thank you very much. And well, thank you. I will, of course, write down here my personal email. So if you have any questions, let me know. And my personal WhatsApp also.
Juno is asking if you can show the email again.
Oh,
the
yeah,
flyer
of course.
for the workshop, please.
Yeah, you can send us an email. There it goes. And we will write in here. Here it is. Okay. Okay. Have a nice day. Have a nice day. And thank you very much. And, love Barcelona. Enjoy your stay over there. Hope I will visit soon over there in Barcelona. Thank you. Bye.